Hey all, Guthrie Prentice, the practitioner here. I wanted to comment on a new news article which came my way. As you are probably aware, Carl Sagan's Cosmos TV series, which is trying to do an update on the latest that we know about science and the universe for the viewing public. Anyway, it was rebooted on the Fox network a little while back. Now, when it was initially posted, that it was going to be posted on Fox, I had initially some misgivings about this, largely because of the fact that I have seen that in certain circumstances, Fox has been known to, I won't say misrepresent science, but I will say they've been known to not necessarily do their due diligence sometimes with science research. However, I was actually startlingly surprised when I actually got to see some of the new Carl Sagan Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson as host. I actually thought it was a particularly good show overall. Interestingly, however, this article came my way, where a group of creationists, Young Earth Creationists, I should specify, the ones who believe the Earth is between 6,000 and 9,000 years old, and that, you know, everything was literally created by God and that evolution is wrong, they wanted time on Cosmos for fair and scientific balance. Here's the thing with my philosophy on this. I should mention, I'm an agnostic, and I am very much pro-science. Evolution is the best model that we have right now for how life came to be in the diversity it is at the present time. And until such time as a better scientific model shows itself, I'm going to go with that one for the moment. That being said, I do see the possibility where, now the thing is, okay, let's try this from another tack. If the creationists want equal time, I had a debate with a friend of mine, James Walter Morrison, friendly exchange, and he pointed out that one of the issues is that Cosmos is probably going to be shown in classrooms across the country, and so the creationists want equal time, and he didn't see that as a problem. Well, I'm going to elaborate with what I told him on Facebook. I'm going to elaborate on this video with a couple of expansions that I would prefer to see done if we are going to put creationism back in the classroom. Number one, I would prefer to see that every creation model that has been come up with in human history. This includes First Nations creation stories, particularly for Canada and the United States, where First Nations have actually had a significant impact on culture. This would actually be a great idea to teach them. I'd love to see First Nations creation stories put in, Shinto creation stories put in, Hinduistic and Buddhist creation stories put in, all the variations from Judeo-Christian Islamic, so not just the Young Earth creationist models, but I'd also like to see reinterpretations from the Judeo perspective and the Islamic perspective put in there. I'm sure there's a bunch of others that I'm forgetting, but the point is, though, that because, some African ones, ones from the natives of Borneo, the point is, though, that because there are so many, and even a few Filipino creation myths, the point is, because there are so many diverse religions and creation stories out there, if we are going to do an entire, if we're going to cover creationism, Young Earth creationism in the classroom and juxtapose it against evolution, I would like to see all the other human creation story, all the other creation legends and stories and models that have been brought up by various religions in history. I'd like to see them put in the classroom as well. So this way, for two reasons. Number one of which is so that this way, when children are trying to make up their minds as to which creation model to follow or which combination of them is good to follow, we can also get an idea of how of what variables or of what ideas and variables what actually went into the consideration and development of these various creation models. So this way also again, as part of a development in human history and culture, students can also get an idea of what various models have to offer and what they were considering at the time when they were being developed. Anyway, that's the first thing I'd like to see. The second thing I'd like to see is the fact that if we are distinguishing between, and of course they would all get equal time. Bear in mind, though, because there are so many, we'd have to try to figure out how to actually put them all, we'd have to try to figure out how to be able to narrow down the description of evolution and Young Earth creationism and all of these in probably a couple of minutes if we're trying to put them all into one class. Maybe this should be a separate unit which covers an entire semester or more, so this way there's enough time to go in depth to, or at least a reasonable introductory in depth to all these various creation models. The second thing I'd like to see is I'd also like to see that when evolution is covered, if we're trying to mention the young Earth creation model or what have you, needs to be, or any of these creation models need to be put in a science class for key measure, then we also need to evaluate each of these theories on a scientific basis. And by that I mean, what empirical evidence are they suggesting? What experiments have gone into the theory? What predictions have the theories made that have been confirmed true? And more importantly, what sort of peer-reviewed papers, etc., do they have behind them to the present date? Also, as well, we have to see where the scientific consensus is actually going. And just to clarify this, when in the original article below, you will see that that one of the people has claimed that so many scientists do not accept evolution as the theory. Firstly, we need to find out. What scientists are, which scientists are saying this, and not necessarily just what their relevant expertise are, but what information they are using to base this decision on. B, we need to see what, how these scientists were representing. Are they all part of a single group, or are they a random selection of scientists, i.e., getting a more general, thus getting a more a random selection would give a truer representation of what the scientific consensus actually was. And thirdly, we will need to take a look at not just what the scientists are accepting, but the percentage of scientists as well in that group compared to the overall majority of scientists, but not so much that, as what's more important is where the majority of the peer-reviewed scientific papers are pointing, i.e. where's the bulk of the data pointing, because scientific consensus or a majority view among for a scientific viewpoint is not necessarily based on what the majority of the scientists hold view, but more importantly on where the majority of the peer-reviewed scientific papers go, because that's where the bulk of the data is pointing. So we do need to address that issue as well when determining whether or not young Earth creationism or any other creation model that is not coming from the that is not the evolutionary model, you know, or the cosmological model or what have you. Yes, when we address these issues, we need to see where they are coming from, and we need to see we need to give a definition as to what the scientific method is and what science is, and then from that, then we need to address, for scientific balance reasons, where are these theories coming from, what evidence do they have supporting them, you know, and we need to be able to cover the wide range, not just young Earth creationism versus evolution in its own right. To do so would be a false dilemma fallacy, and in the process of attempting to have children evaluate legitimacy of claims about the physical world, we kind of want to do it in such a way so as they don't inadvertently fall prey to fallacies as much as possible while they are attempting to make up their own minds. Anyway, that's my whole point on this. Please, whatever your viewpoints on this issue, please post in the comments below, and yeah, feel free to tell me what you think. Catch you on the flip side.